Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, we're good.
How's it going?
It's going pretty smoothly. How are you doing today?
Good.
My
Wait, quick
brain
question.
stopped. My brain stopped working in that middle of that sentence for some reason.
Oh, all good. So can you hear this laptop next to me? Is it super loud or is it okay?
It's like in the back, but for the most part, I don't really. It's died out now.
Okay. If it becomes annoying, let me know and I can move it.
Sure.
Awesome.
Um,
Nice.
are you good to go?
As in like, am I nervous wreck? Yeah, I'm good to go.
That is that is a good baseline to launch into.
Yay.
So what happens is I say the words theme song, as you may or may not know.
Yes.
Then I edited the theme song later because I don't have the resources to play it on the call. And then I say, hello and welcome to Hello, We Don't Talk, Let's Talk, the show where I, Christopher Hua, reconnect with old friends. And today we have we're gonna say punctual, Eugenia Acosta. Huge.
Wow.
Welcome to the program.
Yay.
You've
I can't believe
made
you
it.
just called me punctual. I've never, ever, ever been called punctual in my life. So I'm going to take that snippet and show people.
Excellent. Huge, how are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, today's been a good day. It's sunny. So I can't really complain. But nervous, definitely nervous for this.
Well, hopefully, I'll allow that to subside by the time this thing ends.
Yeah.
So I think the last time I saw you was, at least the memory that sticks out of my mind is I think the 2014 FIFA World Cup. I
Oh
think
yeah.
like Amber got a bunch of people to just like go to Boston Pizza and just watch who was it, like Germany, Argentina.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think at the time people were, or I think you were skewing Argentina side.
Yeah.
But now, as a roundabout, and then Germany ended up winning, and now I assume, what can I only assume as like penance, you have moved out to Germany.
Well, yeah, so I'm in Germany, but I'm still Team Argentina when it comes to soccer. Can't
Gotcha.
ever let
Uh,
that go.
so that's roughly 6.5 years. Fun to think about.
Not so much to think about. It flew by. Wow. Wait, so who were you going for in that game?
Germany.
Yeah, I feel like everybody except me was going for
Yeah, you
Germany.
were you were a standout, but you know what? Gotta respect the dedication.
Yeah, I still
Um,
have my t-shirts here. I just can't wear them around.
so I don't have a great specific starting point other than, what brought you out to Germany?
Yeah. All right.
How has your life been for the last slightly over 5 years?
Wow, what a small question to ask. Thanks,
No
Chris.
problem.
Well, after Cameron, I went to Waterloo where I studied environmental engineering. Didn't really think too much about the decision, to be honest. It wasn't like my calling. I just thought Mr. Husick made such a fuss about how he hates engineers. I thought,
Got to stick it to the man.
yeah, kind of sound fun. So I thought, why not? So I did that. And in my fourth year, I did an exchange to Paris, which had always been my dream. I always wanted to go study in Paris. And it was so difficult to arrange that exchange. I had to make an agreement between my university and one I found in Paris who finally responded to me. It took me like a year to settle it all
Oh,
out
wow.
and to like get good enough grades to go and everything because I wasn't the best student. Yeah, so I went to Paris and that was when I was like, oh my God, like Europe is where I want to be. I just felt super at home, not just in France, but we got to travel a little bit. And I just felt like I love the flexibility of traveling and the mindset, and the people I met were just really great. And I was left with such a good impression. So then I went and finished off my last year at Waterloo, but already with the mindset of like Europe bound. How am I going to get there? So after my last year and after graduating at Waterloo, I was so sick of engineering. I was like, I want nothing to do with engineering anymore. I'm going to do something totally different. So I thought, let me find a job as someone like in sales or marketing. So I got like an internship in London. I was like, awesome, sounds great. My boyfriend is German and we had also kind of like picked out a couple countries where we could both easily work, that would be in English, that I could easily get a visa. And the UK wasn't like one of those. So I thought, awesome, let me go do this internship. He came along, I think a month after I had been there. And yeah, I lived in London. I had a really great experience. Like work-wise was super fun. I worked at a startup. But the city itself, I hated. I hated London. I don't know why. I don't know. It just like didn't suit me. I felt it was this weird feeling where every time I'd fly into London, so like coming back from Christmas, or like when I would go visit someone and be flying back, I'd be like looking out the plane window. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I don't know. It
this
was just like,
this place again. God.
yeah. And it felt so stupid. I was like, I feel so lucky that I get to live in London, but at the same time, I just felt this feeling of dread, like, oh, not this again.
That's classic Britain as far as
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody was great and everything was super exciting, but I think London itself, there was something about the city and like, I don't know, the chemistry was just off. So I was already looking for something different to do. And I found like an internship working as an environmental engineer in Barcelona, because Barcelona was like one city that I'd always wanted to live in. I was like, this is it, awesome. Managed to get the internship. But then they said, by the way, to get this internship, you have to be a student. Like we only get funding if you're a student.
Mm.
And so I was like, I can become a student. Let's do it. So I found a master's program that was like part-time online in water resource engineering that I was like, this is awesome. This is perfect.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And it was with this university in Barcelona. So just like all lined up great. But the timing of it was that I'd start the master's before and then move to Barcelona and start working there. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And I didn't really tell people at my work in London that I was doing both. For some reason, I just thought, let me just keep it really down low. So I don't know. I didn't want them to like pay me student pay or something. I can't remember the reasoning, but somehow I wasn't telling anyone. But I was studying. So I was working like super long, or I think they were pretty long hours. There was like 50 hours a week. And then I would have like 25 hours of studying to do.
That is a packed week.
It was super packed. Like I remember being like, okay, if I work 14 hours on Saturday and 13 on Sunday, and during the week,
chunk out like 30 minutes of like personal time.
Yeah, I used to live at this one cafe close to my really shitty apartment in London, and I would like live there. And yeah, thank God they never kicked me out because I also couldn't afford to really like hop to another cafe.
Bildschirmleser heißt VoiceOver.
That's the laptop.
Yes, it is.
Verwendest, drücke die Befehlstaste.
Stop. Okay.
Die VoiceOver Kurzübersicht. VoiceOver liest Beschreibungen von Objekten.
I hope you know this is staying in the recording, by the way.
Oh my God, no. Okay. I think we're good. I don't know what it's saying. My German's not that great either. So yeah, anyway, I was studying super, super hard. And I'd finished my first semester by the time I moved to Barcelona. So I left everything in London, packed up, and I was like, here I go, Barcelona bound. And I show up, and in Barcelona, I had this like apartment with like 9 people, but it was like a big enough space, but it was like 9 of us. And
that's
I love, yeah, but I love like a packed house. Like I love, like, I don't know, how many have like, what's the max number of people you've lived with, Chris?
3, my mom, my dad, my sister.
Okay. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I've always loved huge families. Like one of my closest friends was Brianna Leahy, and she has like a million siblings, and those siblings have a million friends. So every time we go to their house, there's so many people, and I love that environment of like tons and tons of people. So for me, it was a dream. I was like, oh my God, like 8 or 9 or whatever new friends. And we actually became super close. I was like loving it. I was about to start my job or this internship, and I get a call from them, and they basically were like, yeah, we have news. And I was like, okay, like, what's up? And they're like, we ran out of funding. Like, we actually can't pay you. I was like, but I'm broke. Like, what do you mean you can't pay me? Like, I left everything in London and I show up here, and yeah, like, we can't pay you, which was not great news. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can find another job. I speak Spanish, so I should be able to maybe find a job in a cafe, and so I can work part-time in this internship and unpaid, and I don't know, somehow make it work.
Be able to stay alive in a foreign country.
Yeah, totally. And no, I could not. I did
Oh
not
no.
find any job. So I couldn't do the internship. And yeah, so I was like, well, I can't pay rent in Barcelona. What am I going to do? And I basically called up my boyfriend who had just moved to Berlin. I was like, guess who's moving to Berlin? And he's like, oh God, what? So he wasn't thrilled about it, but I had to show up anyway. I was like, I'm not going to Canada right now. I'm already here. So I moved to Berlin after staying in Barcelona for I think 2 months in the end, because I'd already paid first and last month's rent. I was like, well, I'm just gonna be here going to the beach every day. Yeah, so then I moved to Berlin very unexpectedly, no German at all. And I was super nervous though for that move because Berlin was never on my radar. I love Barcelona because I was like, it's gonna be like so much nature. We're gonna have the beach, the mountains, I don't know, tapas, like everything that I liked was in Spain. I could speak Spanish. I have family there. Just like, I was so excited for that lifestyle. And then to pivot and be like, okay, I'm moving to Techno Town. I don't even like techno. I'm like not at all in that scene. I'm not like a big party person. I don't think there's any nature in Berlin. I don't want to learn German. I was in my head, this was all going on, but I was trying to be like, okay, let's make the best of it.
These were your preconceptions and your
right, totally. Yep. And I remember like crying on the phone to my boyfriend. I'm like, I can't become techno huge. It's just not my thing. Like, I'm never gonna make a friend. But I came here and I was like, okay, let's make it work. So I started learning German on Duolingo, and like I would practice as much as I could. I managed to get my pronunciation to be really good.
Nice.
My vocabulary was like minute, like I still know very little. Shuffle around like the same 20 words in different orders. But
on the rare occasion you need to go outside these days, you have like a set vocabulary.
Yeah, I mean, you only talk about like 3 things now. Like, what are the lockdown restrictions? When are the vaccines coming? Never. And I don't know, how old's your dog? So I can master those small conversations. Yeah, so I wound up in Berlin, found a job, like a small like customer service job, where it was like a company where they help people find language courses. So it'd be people from all over the world, and we were just like support for like the search engine. I didn't love the company, but it just so happened to collide with when a lot of things, like there was a lot of uncertainty in Venezuela at the same time. So weirdly, most of the people that were calling or that were coming through to me, because I was like the Spanish speaking person, were from Venezuela. And I really enjoyed that part because basically when you're doing a language course, you often can get like a study visa for these countries. So for me, I was like, wow, like I can talk to Venezuelan people all day and try to help them get out of the country. Like people were so desperate at the time. And I remember I had found a course, again, because people just need visas. They didn't care to learn a language. I found a course for a 95-year-old woman in Miami to learn English just because she had to leave. And I remember calling the school and being like, yes, this woman is an academic. Like she just loves to learn. And
lifelong learner.
Totally. And I was just like, she really needs to like get into the school. And she's a very serious student because they obviously didn't want people just to like show up for the bees and then cancel the rest of the course. So I just had to like, I don't know, I helped like a 95-year-old woman, and then also like a 3-year-old girl had to get a visa. Same thing. No, this person, like she is 3, but she really talks like she's like 7. Like she's so advanced. Whatever. So I mean, I really didn't like the company, and it wasn't like the best place, but I was super grateful for the job. And then on top of it, I got to help like people from Venezuela. So for me, it was it turned into like a really nice experience. So I was really grateful just to, 1, get a job, and 2, just be able to help a little bit at least. Yeah, and then after that, the company that I'd worked for in London had opened a small office here in Berlin. And I managed to get a job there. They needed someone. I was like, hey. So that was really cool.
Did they ask you like where you went for those 2 months? It was like,
yeah, well, yeah, it was very different people. And I kind of like explained, yeah, I went to do an internship that didn't pan out. And they're like, Spain? Yeah, okay, no problem. We get it. We totally get it. So that was really cool just to get another chance, a different opportunity here in Germany where I didn't have to speak German. So I was really happy about that. And I worked there for a couple years. And then back in 2019 or 2018, I left that job because I wanted to finally learn German, because I was like, I feel so stupid living in this country where I can't like defend myself, or like my German is so basic. I want to take a year to like really learn the language and like feel a bit more comfortable here and make an effort and get to know my neighborhood. Because again, when you're just like, I don't know, running off to work or like off doing things, you don't get a chance to like
Just
get
take
to
it
know
in.
people. Yeah. And I had gotten my dog, I think, in 2018. So I was out in the neighborhood a lot while I was not working and taking these German courses. And then I got to know all these amazing people. Like now I know my neighbors. I know all of them. I know people that live around the block. I don't know. I hadn't been like settled in one place for so long until I came to Berlin. So that was such a, like not life-changing, but like a very situation-changing year for me, because I just felt like I made Berlin more like home, like, getting to know
Planting your
people,
roots.
language. Yeah. And so that was really cool. And then after that, I found a job at my current company, they're called Fit Analytics. And I worked there as a project manager. We recently got bought by Snapchat.
Gotta love the tech industry.
I am thrilled. I don't know. It's very different. We had a very cool like 100-person small tech company, and now we're just getting settled into this different kind of like Silicon Valley vibe, which is so different from the European vibe that I kind of got used to. Like everybody's chill, and so yeah, we're just in that transition now. And yes, I'm sure I missed out large chunks of my life since I left Cameron, but I think that's
You know
it.
what that is plenty of stuff to work with.
Okay, cool.
I've established so far on previous episodes that like my job is just get my guests talking for as much as possible, and then I just kind of plug at threads to fill out the rest of the hour and a half, hour, however long people want to stay here.
That's a great strategy.
Oh yeah,
oh my
it's
God.
great. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. Well, I've watched quite a few of your episodes. I actually got
Thank you.
into it with Amber's episode. I was so excited. I was like, no way, Amber. I remember you like called him Akram at the end.
I don't want to talk about it. That will be getting cut out of this episode.
You said that on the other one, but you didn't cut it, so I'm sure you won't cut it this time either.
Just gotta own up to your mistakes. It's fine. It's fine. It happened. We move on. But yeah, very interesting that it's basically you moved out to Germany sort of out of necessity.
Yeah.
Rarely do you hear someone say, "I need to be in a foreign country out of necessity."
Yeah. But it's been, yeah, I guess so. But I stayed because I actually really enjoy Berlin now. Still don't really know why, but I do.
So what preconceptions got shattered when you actually made it to Berlin?
I thought people were going to be very cold. So I had this idea that it was going to be, and I mean, it was very difficult to make friends. Maybe that's just part of like being an adult and moving to a new city, and you're not like going to school where you see the same people. But I had a really hard time meeting friends. But I found that people in general were warmer, kinder, more open. Even if you had just seen them once, then you meet them a second time, and then they're super like happy and super welcoming. So I didn't expect that. I didn't expect how much techno there would be. So that was like, I thought it would be like techno, pretty techno-y.
If anything, you underestimated it.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, I don't know. I remember like back home when like we would be like, oh, let's go to this bar because it has country music, or go to this bar because it has pop music. Here it's like there's no choice. It's always techno or house. I don't know if it's the same.
Maybe kind of electronic music.
Yeah, for me it's all the same. I hope I'm not offending people, but yeah, so I really underestimated it. What else changed? Mm, I think it's also like the appreciation for nature here. Like German people love more than I really like expected. Like they will always go out to the lake on a nice weekend. They are always walking or biking, even in like the dead of winter.
Oh,
Like I'm so used to like driving a car. They'll be like, "Yeah, let's grab a beer outside." I'm like, "Are you crazy? Like, no, I don't want to have a beer outside. Like I'm cold." And
what do you
they're
mean?
always outside.
You're from Canada. You should be used to this.
I am Venezuelan. I don't like the cold. But even still, I think like in Canada, we don't hang out
Oh,
outside in the
absolutely not.
winter. Like, who's gonna be like, let's go
We
for a
we
walk?
we complain about the amount that we have to shovel, and then we retreat back indoors.
Right. And I
Or
didn't
you're a hockey person
realize.
that's hitting the frozen over pond.
Yeah, exactly.
One of
But
those
there's
two.
no other occasion to be outside in the cold. And that's when I realized I was like, oh, we're not equipped for the cold. We just like, I mean, we're equipped in the sense that we have ways of coping with it, which is
Mhm.
just avoiding it. Whereas here, they're like, my
Fully
boyfriend, I remember
embracing it.
totally. He'll like be like, yeah, I'm gonna go meet a friend on the other side of town, which is like a half-hour bike ride. He bikes there and it's awful weather, and then he has a beer outside and then comes back. And I'm like, why would you do that to yourself?
they're
Like
they're built differently over there.
totally. Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. But they somehow think that we're the tough ones in the winter. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that doesn't go outside in the winter. So yeah, that surprised me. They really like need fresh air and nature and all this stuff, um, way more than I thought, because Berlin's like concrete former war zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't know. I haven't really thought
Yeah,
about it. What else?
like when I think of Germany, I don't think of like the sort of vibrancy of like an Amsterdam or a Barcelona or a Paris. Like when I think Germany, I think like brutalist, although I don't think that's at all the architecture that's actually there. I'm a uneducated person on most things. But yeah, like Germany has that sort of, this was a war country for a while, so you know that's always in
Yeah,
the that's always just like the air of things. But
yeah,
after talking to Alexia in August, because she herself had spent quite a bit of time out in Germany, um,
oh, cool. I didn't know that.
yeah, definitely a lot more to it than what I would think of just off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's definitely like, well, I also got into so many awkward situations when I would first visit Germany, because I'd always say like, wow, like if I see a part of town that I think is really beautiful, wow, this is so beautiful, like your city's great. And then like my German friends would be like, yeah, it was much better before the bombs. Like, I remember always like, I mean, what do you say to that? Like, I'm sure it
just
was like, there's,
just nervously laugh along.
I never knew what to say to that comment. And now I'm the one saying it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Berlin is definitely like a patchwork city because of the way that it was divided and all that it's been through. So you have every neighborhood is so different and the architectures are so different from one another.
Mhm.
And you can kind of like, you really feel like you're part of history, or like you can feel the history is still quite fresh. I mean, like the Berlin Wall used to go like right along my house, and they
Oh
have
wow,
like a special cobblestone all around the city that kind of marks where the
the
Berlin
wall
Mauer
goes.
was, the
Sure.
wall. Yeah. Through my one German word there. Um, so for me, I like to go to the grocery store. I walk along where the wall was, and I like, it never gets old. Like I always get goosebumps, or when I see like my dog hopping along like the side, like from one side to the other of like the sidewalk where the wall was. I'm like,
Mhm.
what? Like this is so weird to me, like so crazy. It just feels like it's very present still, and
Mhm.
there's
Like
people that obviously remember it.
to be like among history as opposed to just like having it be the sort of sequestered thing that you look at from afar. It's, I can only imagine that's like quite the experience.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I'm just a forever tourist. Like I'm never gonna be like, yeah, I'm like a local. I'm always amazed. I just feel like a tourist all the time because I discover more and more and more. And I
Mhm.
just see it through the lens of like, whoa, like how am I living in history? We read about this in books and stuff, but it always seems so far away. And now I'm here. And it was the same experience in Paris, that there's so much history around and it's so incredible. And I remember taking an art history course, which I totally failed. I was so bad at, but I thought it would be super cool to say, oh, I took art history in Paris and then got a 42, like awful. But in that course, I remember like we were like reading about all these like paintings and art pieces, and then my friend's like, hey, why don't we just go to like Musée d'Orsay or like go to the Louvre and see it? I'm like, what? Like, this is so wild to me.
You can do that?
Yeah. And I was like, this is so like I'm way too lucky that I get to do something like that. Yeah, so I mean I'm just always gonna be a cheesy tourist that's down to like see all these things because it's incredible. Yeah, and I feel really, really lucky that I get to. Yeah.
So you've been out in Europe for a while. You mentioned the ability to just sort of, sort of span the continent. Like how much of it have you been to at this point?
Uh
Or has it just been London, Paris, Barcelona, Berlin?
no, I'm got really lucky after my exchange in Paris. It was like a kind of funny situation. I thought my boyfriend and I had broken up, but I still wanted to like see him before going back to Canada.
Mhm.
I later found out he didn't think we had broken up. Super confusing story. But I was like, okay, I really like this guy and I want to see him before going back to Canada, but he has to write an exam in Germany. And so he's not free till August. And so this was July that I started. So I was like, I need to backpack until he's free and then casually be like, oh, hey, I'm going to be in Germany. We should meet up. Yeah, it's all my diabolical plan. So I had no money. And when I mean no money, I had negative money
Oh, wow.
to travel. And I was like, okay, I have to just like buy time somehow. So I was using all my money to for like the trips in between places. So I managed to like stay with my family in Spain. So like I did a trip I started in Portugal because I had bought that ticket like when I still had money.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with a friend surfing in Portugal. And then from there I took like what are they called? Like car shares or like really shitty buses from there to Madrid, Madrid to Barcelona. I had to leave the Schengen zone, which is like the area, like the European, I don't even explain it.
Just like the coverage of the European Union or whatever.
Right, that thing. Anyway, I had to leave Schengen because my student visa had run out and I had to like leave so I could re-enter as a tourist.
Mm-hmm.
And the only places I could either go to or that I thought of going to were either the UK, because that's not Schengen, or what's the other place? Croatia. And the tickets were cheaper to Croatia. So I was like, okay,
Gotta squeeze
I'm going to Croatia. Yeah, I'm going to Croatia. And I had no plan. So I went to Croatia where I had to spend, I think, like 10 days. And all I had booked was like one hostel for one night. And then I was like, I might have to sleep at like a train station the rest of the time. To like, I didn't know what to do, but I met these super cool people at the hostel that were also like traveling on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So together we like got onto this one bus that was super cheap to see these waterfalls. And then our idea was to catch the super cheap bus again to another town where we heard that you can get very cheap accommodation. Anyway, we're at this waterfall national park in the middle of nowhere, and we're waiting for the bus to take us to this other town. And the bus like didn't stop at the bus stop. It just like kept going. And we're like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? And in the end, I can't remember how, but we ended up hitchhiking, which I did not want to do, but I was like, okay, I trust these guys that I met 24 hours ago. Let's go. And we ended up hitchhiking to this other town where we had cheap accommodation for the rest of the days. In the end, Croatia was incredible, like so beautiful. And I was just like so happy because I was at the water basically. So I was like, okay, my entertainment is free. I'm just going to jump and swim in the ocean anytime I need to do something, discover this cool town, eat banana, rice, and beans every single day. That was like all I was eating for a month and a half. Yeah, and then I just traveled a bit more in Germany. And then I met up with my boyfriend, found out he thought we were still together. I was like, great, cool, because I've just been waiting a month and a half to see you, so it all worked out, and that's the boyfriend I'm with now still.
Gotcha.
So all that effort was worth it. But then since I've been here, I've managed to travel a little bit to Greece, Italy, and then repeating the same countries, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, so I
That's
feel
sick.
really lucky. Yeah, it's super, super cool. So you
On
should come, Chris. You're super welcome here. Yeah.
definitely
Have you
jotting it
been?
down for when I A, get a passport renewal, and B, feel safe traveling anywhere.
Yeah, seriously, for sure. As soon as you're good to go,
Gonna do
mi casa su
a
casa.
physical Euro tour.
Yeah.
Hit up Tina, high five her in London.
She's in London.
Oh yeah.
Peter Pan. Oh
And
my God.
then Simon's in Paris,
Yeah.
Henry's in Italy.
What?
Oh yeah.
When did he get I saw you did a podcast with him, but I didn't realize he was in Italy.
So I think he headed out to Italy in like December or something like that. Super recent.
Oh wow, pandemic big move.
Yeah, bold decision.
Yeah.
Considering where Italy was in the scope of early stage COVID. But you know what? More power to him.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, he's seemingly doing some interesting things.
Wow.
And then, Sam Whitblood and Willie McLeish over out in the Netherlands.
Oh right, yeah. Oh man, I would love to see all of them again. I think we once tried to arrange a meetup. I remember Sam, Will, I think Simon, Tara was in France at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I didn't go.
Oh.
I think it must have been something important, or I don't know if we canceled it or something happened, but I remember we were talking about it. And then I don't remember what happened with it, but
time to give another run.
Yeah, as soon as travel is safe again, I would love to see them all. It'd be cool.
So, you had spent quite a bit of time basically traveling on no budget. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that experience?
10. It's 10. You get to be like so creative, and yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I had a little penny board that I didn't know how to use, but that was my mode of transportation. I fell so many times. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I love traveling by myself. I think that was what made it really cool, because I think traveling with someone else and showing them like the low standard that you have is not as cool. But for me, I don't need very much. Like, I like discovering a city. I like staying up late. I have like, I don't know, and just not having to compromise, or really like, yeah, just doing whatever you want. I'm fine with. I don't need any
Being
budget
untethered to another
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like having to be creative because I have no money.
Any advice for someone who might be thinking of traveling on a minimal budget?
Stay with friends. Eat beans and rice. That'll get you through. That's all the nutritional value you need for like a month or so. Sunscreen. Wear sunscreen. That's the only thing I had to. My mom sent me money specifically to buy sunscreen.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, not food, sunscreen. Yeah, and if you're in Germany, hit me up. I have a free couch. Anybody.
So feel free to decline to answer this question. I'm very curious about the context that led to you thinking you had broken up when when your partner had thought otherwise.
So my boyfriend is half German, half American, but he has his very German moments. So we had been dating in Paris for several months, and I mean, like, I was super into him. Things are going great. I never wanted to have a long distance relationship just because I grew up with like my family in Venezuela, and having to say goodbye to them all the time was just awful. And I was like, I don't want to do long distance. But anyway, but this guy, like my boyfriend now, I really liked him. And I was like, maybe like in my head, I was thinking I would love to like give it a shot. Like, I really like him. And I didn't know how to tell him that because we were trying to be like all cool and like,
Oh,
don't bring it up kind of thing. And I was like, okay, well, we got like a week left till we're parting ways and we have no game plan. Like, are we going to try or are we not going to try to be together? And so I just remember like chickening out of asking him so many times. And then one time I was like, alrighty, Daniel, I really like you and I would like to try and date like after this. What do you think? And he like looked me dead in the eye, no emotion. I was like, I think it would be difficult. My heart broke. I was like, okay, like over. Like he said it would be difficult and nothing else. That was it. So I thought,
yeah,
it's over. That's his way of saying no.
That's basically a no, yeah.
It's a no. You know how to take it. So it's a no. And so that was the only time it ever came up. He never brought it up again. And that's why I thought we had broken up. And then when we finally saw each other and he was all like, fine, grabbing me by the hand when we met up again, I was like,
what is happening?
What do you do? Like, what is going on? I spent months or like the 2 months traveling, journaling, crying to people in a hostel. I was like, do you realize I went through all the motions of a breakup? I tried to find myself because you had like ended things with me. And meanwhile, he was like, yeah, my girlfriend's like backpacking through Europe, she's having a great time. And I was like, anyways, I was so upset. I was like, so much self-discovery for nothing. I would have been fine. Like, yeah. Oh my God. That was awful. Yeah, it worked out.
Just a classic communication was the answer all along.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because he said like, Eugenie, like, I just said it would be difficult. I didn't say no. I was like, but you didn't say yes or anything positive. Like, I'm sorry if I just interpret that to be a no.
What am I supposed to do with this statement? What do you mean by this?
Exactly. I'm happy you see my side because I think he was being totally ridiculous. Yeah, so that was quite the shock
fun.
to figure out we were
That's
fine.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, great. And he's like, yeah, my parents are coming like tomorrow and you're going to get to meet them. Like, literally, that's how it happened. Like, when we met up again in Germany, he's like, yeah, my parents are coming to visit me here and you're going to meet them. And I was like, I've been backpacking for months. I have like dirt in my fingernails since like I'll never get out again. Yeah, so then now we've been together since 2014. What is that? 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel like that long because we did do long distance, like Canada, Germany for a while. So I don't know what the proper relationship math is, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's been like 7 years.
There's like some multiplier on those years that messes up the math from regular numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So but things are good. And I have a dog, which has been my lifelong goal. Like, I don't have any other ambition or anything left to do in life. All I ever wanted was a dog. And now I have a dog and I'm very happy and obsessed with my dog.
What was your, I guess, family stance on pets growing up?
We've always had dogs. So my dad's a huge dog person. Like, he's into like dog shows and like pedigree stuff. Whereas my mom, she grew up in a house where they would like rescue animals from anywhere from Venezuela. So like at one point they had like, I think it was a parrot that used to swear like all the time. They rescued a horse once. Like, and it was like living in a house, like not anything fancy.
Not like a stable, just at
home. No, like there was I think it was a horse. I know they had a monkey for a while. And now like my great aunt, so my grandma's sister, there's 3 of them. So my grandma and her 2 sisters, but one of them, she started like a really big animal protection agency in Venezuela. And it's run out of their house now. I mean, it's super legit. It's been there for a while now and it's like really well known, but they've always like rescued like any mutt or any normal dog, like any cat, literally anything. They just like rescue, which is super cool. Yeah, so we're really big into animals. And so I've always had a dog. And I waited till like my family dog passed away because I was like, I don't know how to manage that relationship between like I have my family, like I have my dog, and then getting another dog. I was like, I can't. So
you don't want to do that to the OG.
No, exactly. I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to handle that much emotion. Let me just like focus on one dog at a time."
Mm.
And then when that dog passed away, I got my dog, and yeah, we're inseparable now.
Name and breed?
His name is Luke. No reason, just
Very, very human name.
yeah. Well, that was the one condition because my boyfriend didn't want a dog. He's been converted and he's a full like dog dad now, but he said, I want a bigger dog so he can like run with me or like be more exciting, and I want him to have a human name so that people get confused when I say I'm gonna hang out with Luke. And I was like, all right, cool. So we kind of named him on the way to pick him up, and he's a Vizsla, Hungarian Vizsla. Do you know the breed?
Not in the slightest.
Cool. Do you know Way Mariners?
Nope.
Why would you ask this question?
As previously mentioned, I am uneducated on most things.
Okay, well, he is like a pointer, what's it called? Like a hunting dog.
Gotcha.
So a Hungarian hunting dog, and the breed is really, really old. It was used by like Hungarian royalty, and then I can't remember as a consequence of what war they tried to like wipe them out because it was such a symbol of Hungary, I guess after World War One. So they almost wiped out the breed, but then slowly they started bringing it back. They bred it also to make other breeds because I guess it's like super healthy, super fit, and it's like the dogs that you release into the woods to like catch these like wild hogs and bring back birds, and I don't know. Obviously,
whatever hunting entails.
Yeah, nobody fact checked me on this. This is just the story I always say. Yeah, so he's a good dog. Terribly behaved, but good in the sense that I like him. Yeah, and Berlin's really good for dogs because I don't know why, but the police don't care if they're off leash. It's definitely you're not supposed to, but nobody cares.
Let
So
it
we
go.
just like, yeah, we live in this area called like Neukölln Kreuzberg, which is like a bit more like the edgier part of Berlin. I don't know if that's even accurate, but it's the rougher part. So there's graffiti everywhere. People don't care. Everyone's out like having a good time. I don't know how to explain it, but it's really nice. I like it a lot. So the police, I think, have bigger fish to fry than a dog off leash.
I see.
Yeah, so I like it a lot because I just bring him anywhere. We go to a restaurant to eat or to a bar, or meet up with friends, and we just bring the dog.
Very cool.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. Do you have a dog? Are you a dog person, Chris?
I am a dog person in the sense that like every dog that I've ever met, I want to just take from their owner.
Does that make you a dog person or a dog napper? Like
aspiring dog dapper.
There we go.
But yeah, like my family was like growing up, no one was really ever at home. So like owning pets was not feasible. And now as a independent adult, I've like thought a lot about just getting a dog because, for the most part, I need like something else to drive me to do things. So like going out for a walk for the dog is much easier, like conceptually in my head, easier than just like going on a walk for my own physical health.
Yeah, definitely.
I also just like need something to just point affection at.
Seriously, that was it for me too. That's like I got my dog when I was having a lot of trouble like finding friends or like making connections, and I thought, well, I can basically get a dog and he's forced to take my affection and to give me affection. So and then that kind of spiraled into me making a lot of friends because you're out with your dog and then people are like, oh, what kind of dog is it? This is where my minimal German comes in. I'm like, yo, das ist ein blah, 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 blah. And yeah, and then you just meet people because everybody wants to touch your dog, pet your dog, not touch your dog, pet your dog. Yeah, so if you're thinking about it, I can really, really recommend it. For me, it was life-changing in a very positive way. And they're just so cute.
Yeah, I currently live with some people. I haven't run the idea of like pet ownership by them. I fear that they will say no. I don't have a basis for that. But it's just like one of those like anxieties where it's just like, no, okay, we had this conversation and now I feel like an idiot.
But that's why you don't ask. You simply
Just do
do.
it.
That's what I told my
Keep it secret,
boyfriend.
if anything.
Right, right. I think that's a better strategy. And then, yeah, they can't change it because they're gonna fall in love with the dog. And wait, where are you right now? Like what?
Currently in Waterloo, but I am moving back to Kitchener in about a week.
What? Wait, what? Oh my gosh, sorry. It's so nice to hear about Kitchener and Waterloo. One, I love Waterloo, and two, I'm super interested to see how Kitchener looks now because it seems
It's
like
so
much has
different.
changed. Yeah.
We're a real city now. But yeah, so
Yeah.
in 2019, I finally like moved out of my parents' place just because I felt like living independently for I'd felt like living independently for a while, and then um, Marco had basically bought a house that he was doing renovations on to like essentially flip, and he was like, we got this house. Do you want to live in like the sort of top floor of this bungalow? I'm just like, yeah, sure, because finding rent otherwise was an absolute struggle for me,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because pricing and the quality of things that were on the cheaper end, where I had I figured like $800 for rent. That's like that's totally reasonable before I started looking, and then I found a place. I was like, okay, 750. Let's check it out, and it was like the tiniest studio apartment. I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do this. And then Marco came with the pitch. It's like, your rent will be $600. Like, oh, that's much better. I
That's
cannot thank you
amazing.
enough.
Wow, has it really gone up that much?
Oh yeah,
That-
it's bonkers.
What? Because I remember paying like 400 for a room, I guess, in an apartment. And I thought that was like pricey.
Mhm.
That was not well, I guess it was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
So it was me, Marco, and his brother. We were living at that house for about a year, and then we realized that the walls are paper thin and the space itself was kind of small for three grown men. So they had found a house in the sort of northeast side of Waterloo, over by Ring
Okay.
Park,
Yeah.
and the rent there was like, or the rent here, I guess, is like it's like 3,000, no, 2,900 split three ways, which was just like, that's on the upper end of what I'm like willing to pay. But it like the space is huge.
Wow.
The echo may be coming through the microphone as we speak, because I
Sounds
have
fine
not
to me.
soundproofed this. But so we moved here in October,
Yeah.
and then the landlord was like, I don't want to rent the house anymore. The market's too hot. So they're selling the house, and now we need to find a new space. So
Oh my
Marco has
gosh.
another property um, that's like a 10-minute bike ride from my familial home, which is where I was going to
What?
go if I didn't, or if there was like no other space found.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting essentially a basement for the same amount I'm paying currently,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I cannot thank him enough for
That's
that rate.
wow. That's so cool. Like that you guys found something. I mean, super shit about the market being so tough. You should come live here in Berlin. They're like, yeah, it's not very expensive. So
I should just live as a nomad and just traverse Europe
yeah, really.
indefinitely.
Yes, here's a free couch. Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah, I haven't really, I mean, I've heard things about the market being crazy, like the real estate market. I didn't know like the renter market. I mean, obviously would also go up, but I didn't know too much about it. I just remember, yeah, that when because Tara moved to Toronto for school, she did a post grad or a master's a couple years ago, and she was like floored by the prices. She's like, this is insane. Like, I can't remember, something like 1,500 for an apartment in downtown.
It's been a crazy like 5+ years, give or take.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, congrats on finding something. I'm very, very happy.
I get to stay alive and sheltered.
Yeah, for realsies. It's so awesome though.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think if
like
I had to go home, I'd live with my parents because I don't think I'd have
yeah.
the strength to look for
But
something cheap enough.
culture wise, the city has like gotten a lot of food places, which is what I always point towards as like probably my favorite change about Kitchener-Waterloo. Just like cuisine of every style that wasn't really here while I was still an undergrad for the most part.
What's your favorite place right now?
I haven't been there in about a year, but like the Grand Trunk Saloon is probably going to be my favorite place in Kitchener for a while.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been there. I'll have to
It
check it
is like
out.
a soul food.
Oh my God, yeah.
Um, uh, I was gonna say saloon style, but that's not really like the aesthetic is in the name, and they serve soul food is how I'll say
Okay.
it. But like a lot of craft cocktails as well, which I wasn't.
Whoa.
I'm not big on alcohol consumption, but I do
Yeah.
like exploring that sort of world when
Yeah.
I'm out.
Okay. I don't know if okay, I won't say ever, but I've very, very few times in my life have ordered a cocktail out. Because they're always so expensive. So I'm always like nervous to be like, I better love this. Like if this costs like as much as my dinner, like it better be the best
There's no way to like
cocktail.
ask for a sample. It's just like all or nothing.
Right.
And you were on a shoestring budget for a while. You have that sort of the sort of tendencies still ingrained within you.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, so I would like to get to know cocktails more. But again, I right now, especially with COVID, I haven't been drinking very much. Yeah, I'm a tea person now.
Oh, that's delightful.
I love tea. Yeah.
Favorite kind of tea?
I'm drinking my favorite one right now. It's called Skinny Vanilli. It's great. It's basically like a fruity vanilla one. Otherwise, I'm very big into green teas.
Nice.
Green tea jasmine. Yeah. So what's your drink of choice if you're not necessarily alcoholic wise, but like
I was just gonna say water as like a reflex because man, it's the perfect beverage.
it really is. Ice or no ice?
Oh, I'm a big ice chewer. So
Oh.
I'm like filling the cup mostly with ice because it also, if I don't drink it right away, it just turns into like more water later. It's fine. I don't have
That's
to get
true.
up and fill up my cup again.
Smart. I like it. Very cool.
I've like developed a strategy to, even though I live with friends, I tend to stay in my room. So I've developed like this weird strategy to be in my room for as long as possible. It's where my stuff is.
That's so funny. And have you always been like that, or is it just like since
Pretty
COVID?
much always been like that.
Yeah.
My like growing up, I was just like at my computer playing video games for the most part. I would like say hi to my parents when they came home from work, ask them how their day was, and then like get back to the thing I was doing.
Oh, that's so funny.
There's a strong amount of shame that comes with those sentences, but trying to shrug it off as I get older.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think I spent much time in my room just because I didn't have anything in my room. I would just do homework there. But my brother and I would hang out a lot. I'm not even sure what we would do before. But yeah, I told S he should join on like this call. I was like, dude, you should hop on, make a guest appearance.
Yeah.
But so my brother is living in Fernie.
Planting trees, from what I understand, for
yeah,
large portions of the year.
Yeah, what is he doing? He's currently studying to become a counselor. And which is going really well. He just like started studying pretty recently, and I don't remember exactly what he was doing last. Oh, he was like camping on a glacier.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cold. I think he said it was awful. He wouldn't necessarily do it again. And he's planning to go tree planting, but for that he got some trailer from a friend. He's like fixing it up, so he couldn't make the call.
Hopefully I can catch up with him on a separate occasion.
Yeah, you should bug him, say hi. He's like super hard to reach.
Yeah, I could imagine being out planting as frequently as he does, just kind of out in nature.
Yeah, that, and he always loses his phone. That guy's been through like 100 phones. So you'll like, if you go through like his Facebook history, he's always asking like,
New
hey,
phone,
does
new
anybody have an
phone.
old, or no, he's like begging people for a phone. He's like,
Wow.
does anybody have an old BlackBerry? Like, dude. Yeah. So he says
Uh,
hi.
do you tend to keep frequent contact with Esteban as much as you can?
Yeah. So he calls me weirdly more than I call him. Yeah, I don't know. But then we talk for like a couple hours till you can hear the other person like scrolling through something. You're like, dude, you're not even listening to me anymore. I'm like, yep, call's over. Talk to you in a couple of weeks. But yeah, we try to talk definitely once a month. I mean, nothing fixed, just whenever you're like, ooh, it's been a while. But with my parents, I talk every single day.
Oh.
I call them for everything. Like, hey, like I'm making pizza for dinner. What are you guys up to? Like, just super needy. They don't even call me, I call them. Yeah.
It's at a point where like they might think to call you just to see if everything's okay if you haven't done it.
Yeah, really. Like if I don't call, like I think after 2
Something's
days
wrong.
they'd think I'm dead. Yeah, because I'm always on the phone. Yeah, I like calling because I'm really bad at replying to messages. I don't know why. I'll see the message, I'll like say what I want to reply in my head, like with you. Like I saw your message and I was like so ready to reply to you, and I just forget to write it down because in my head I've replied, and obviously you didn't get it telepathically. And then I'm like, shit, like a couple weeks go by or something, like, oh, or a couple months go by. And then I feel awful. I'm like, oh my God, I swear in my head I replied to you. And I really wanted to. It meant a lot to write back. And then I just don't. I don't know why. I feel like I need like training to reply to people, which sucks because my job relies on me replying to people. I'm like a project manager, so I like have to reply to my email.
True.
So maybe I just don't like to do it in my spare time.
Reminds you
Replying
too
to
much of
people.
work.
Yeah, no, it's not true. I don't know why I don't, but I love calling. I really like. I have actually a call tomorrow with Jacob de Groot Majetti, and I'm
Hell
so
yeah.
excited about it. Yeah, he like wrote me for my birthday, and then he's like, "Yo, like let's have a call." And I was like, "I'm super down." So I'm really looking forward to like catching up because
That
I
is
haven't talked to him since high school either.
that is a thing that he brought up when I had my own call with him. I want to say a month, maybe a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm really looking forward to it because again, on a call, it's easier. Um,
You're gonna be well versed in the art of catching up at this point, just back to
yeah.
back.
Yeah, it'll be good because I haven't talked to a human in a long time. Like besides like my small circle of people. That's why I was so nervous for today. I was like, I don't know how to talk or like socialize or like banter. What is that? I just talk about the same things with the same people all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
to enter this with the mindset of I don't know how to talk to people, you're in good company. Even though I'm like almost 50 episodes in,
Yeah, what?
my brain is always just telling me is like I should be very thankful every time that my guest friend. I don't know whether I should be calling people guests or friends on the show.
Both. You can
Yeah.
have friends as
Um,
guests.
but the more I could get them to just go on about themselves, the less I have to do, the better.
Yeah, well, now's
The
a good
winning
time
strategy.
like, right, because like right now I basically talk to myself a lot in my head because I mean I talk to my boyfriend, I have a roommate too, so I do, and my dog, of course I talk to my dog, but I'm just used to like talking to myself lately, keeping myself busy. Yeah, so how do you feel now that you're this far into your podcast, or like did you, I don't even know the original intent behind it, but did you achieve what you wanted to achieve through this, which I think was like reconnecting with people?
Yeah. So the concept itself, I like threw out to the ether in like 2018, 2017,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like my first year or so of listening to podcasts in the abstract, and I listened to a lot of like sort of comedy based ones, and the common gag was that the barrier to entry to podcasting is so low. You just need
Mm-hmm.
a micro, like at the time where people would record in a physical space, you need one microphone and just like a room, and you don't even need a guest for the most part. You could just be a person talking into a microphone, and that's a podcast. Like the, there was
Yeah.
no requirement past that sort of minimum. And I had, for a number of years, felt kind of like socially isolated, where my interest didn't exactly align with a lot of what I was seeing other people were into, which is fine. People are different; they're gonna enjoy different things. But I've always been like a sort of nostalgic person, and through university, I didn't make like that many sort of new friends. But I'd always had fond memories of the high school years, where even though I didn't really sort of get myself out there until grade 12, like the second half of grade 12, where things got really crammed in, I'd always just had this sort of like high regard for the people that we had met in those times. And as much as people sort of think of social media platforms as this weird pox that has sort of distorted a lot of realities, I tend to view it as just like a way to maintain contact with people. But it's always very sort of cursory glances. So I figured, okay, we can do a deeper dive on this. We can record it, and that'll be that. So in that sense, I have absolutely achieved what I wanted to achieve, because I've also received feedback from other people that say that they're very thankful that I'm doing this, and it has encouraged a couple people to sort of do this sort of experience on their own terms, which is great. I love people connecting with other people, because loneliness sucks.
Yeah. No, I love, like, I think you're so cool, like, for doing this. I mean, I binge watched a bunch of episodes of your
Very
podcast
kind of
over
you.
Christmas, because again, like, I feel, like you said, isolated. And I also think that we went to high school with such a interesting and so many cool people. And again, you lose touch, but you're always like, if I could bump into someone or if I saw someone, I'd be super happy about it. And I've been lucky that I got to bump into quite a few, like Julia Spiegel. She was in London when I was in London. So it's so cool, like meeting her again post university, because of course you change a lot. I bumped into Nicole Kramer once,
Oh, wow.
like walking, like literally like bumped into her. Like I bumped into someone and I look at her, I'm like,
You look
like,
familiar.
yeah, we bumped into each other in Berlin, but she was just on her way to, like, I think to move to the Netherlands or something. And just anytime I get to see someone from high school, Andrew, like I didn't bump into him, but my boyfriend is looking for a job at Spotify. And so I went onto LinkedIn to see the jobs that they had. And then it said like, oh, like these people work there. I'm like, what? Like Andrew Martin, this is so crazy. I just like wrote him. I was like, man, it's just so nice to see these people. Especially now that, I mean, I'm not seeing very many people at all. It's just nice to see like a face, like a blast from the past. And that's why I love your podcast. And I'm super happy that I'm going to get to connect again with Jacob tomorrow. And yeah, hopefully more and more people, because I think, yeah, everybody was so interesting and so cool in high school. And I'm just so happy to see a familiar face again.
Likewise.
Yeah. And look, I'm not nervous anymore. I'm just like
Nailed
catching
it.
up with an old friend.
My goal for this particular episode has been achieved.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know. I'm just so happy to see you again. And you're gonna have to come to Berlin. You have no choice.
Yes, it is written in stone at this point.
Yeah.
I've also, now that I think about it, I think about a year ago, I had promised Amber that I would fly out to West Coast Canada this year, foolishly thinking at the time that this would have all blown over.
I think we were all in that boat.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. But when it does, I think people will be so happy.
Oh yeah,
like
I need to start saving.
Again.
I need to start saving a lot of money. I've spent so much money this past year on takeout. It is not sustainable.
What if you're enjoying it? We have so few like little pleasures that we can have now. Here in Berlin, we entered like a I don't even know what the new rules are. Just like less, you can do less things that you could do yesterday. I think we have curfew as of today. So if you want to have takeout, have takeout. Like,
Has Germany also adapted the sort of like slightly different terms that officially mean slightly different things, but functionally are all the same? So like in Ontario, we've had lockdowns, we have shutdowns, we've had emergency breaks. Like I don't know what any of it means. All I know is that I'm still staying at home, and that's like I'm
yeah,
fine with it. But
yeah,
just pick one. Pick one,
yeah,
please.
yeah. I think so. Like I stopped keeping up because I'm like, okay, I just do nothing. I walk my dog. I assume I can still do that. I go to the grocery store. I assume I can do that. I go for runs in the morning and then I work at home. And that's basically what I do. And if anything, I'll meet with a friend and go for a walk
Mhm.
and stuff. But so I just assume it's allowed. I stopped keeping up with
Yeah.
it.
Until you get stopped,
Yeah,
it's just like this binary system.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I really hope they don't prevent me from going to the grocery store. It's my only joy I have left. No, but I'm hopeful that things will be better very soon.
Fingers crossed.
And yeah, no, why not? At least I can fool myself into thinking that's the case.
How in general have you adapted to this past year?
I struggled with it a lot in the beginning, so I got kind of obsessive with like following the news, wanting to know what's going on.
Mhm.
I was pretty nervous about my family in Venezuela, because I mean it was already a disaster. So like the country was already in like a
Yeah.
pretty tough place. I was like quite worried
Now
about
you're just
them.
throwing a pandemic at it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I was quite worried. My grandpa actually, we were supposed to do a trip to Argentina last year, and my grandpa flew early because he was going to stay with family, and then we were all going to meet up. And so he actually got stuck in Buenos Aires for 11 months. He only got home. So he
Wow.
flew in January, and he finally got to go back home in December. So those kinds of things were a bit stressful. I'm also a very social person. Like I love going to work. I love like doing things.
Mhm.
And so it took a lot for me to be like at home. I used to hate being at home. And now I'm a total homebody and you have a hard time getting me out of the house if it's not for walking the dog. Um, so
You've
yeah, definitely
converted
ups
to
and downs.
you converted to the dark side that I've
Yeah,
claimed
I
for
love your
the
side. It's
majority of my
great.
life.
Yeah, so I think I really can't complain. I think I've been really lucky. I still have my job. I didn't know if that was going to be the case because my
Mhm.
company's like in e-commerce. I was like, it can either go better or maybe people, don't have money and don't spend.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what was going to happen with my job. Um, yeah, so I feel super, super fortunate. And I've done a lot of exercise to kind of like stay positive and like fool myself into thinking that everything's going to be fine, like keep going. And yeah, I've gotten to know myself a lot better and I've gotten to know my apartment a lot better in a good way. I literally never spent time here before, so it's really cool. Yeah, and especially because I live with a roommate and I mean obviously with roommate everything's chill, but being locked in with just like my boyfriend, obviously there was a lot of ups and downs. You're like at
Mhm.
some points you're like, I want to never see your face again. Like I can't like be in the same room for right now as you. Like, we've been together way too much. But then for the past couple of months, it's just been really nice. I think we like got to know like each other a lot better. Survived the big like breakup season. I think so many people I know broke up over the past year. I think it was a bit like expedited with the pandemic, but
Mhm.
I don't know, somehow we like got to a place where we like got to know each other really well. No boundaries a bit better too, like know when someone needs like time alone or a timeout or you just need to say yes so the other person like calms down. Yeah, so definitely ups and downs, but I just feel very fortunate at the end of the day. Yeah, what about you? How has COVID been for you?
Um, so obviously, COVID lockdowns allowed me to start doing this show. Like, I know that people are generally available, so I have some apprehension about like when I first make contact, but overall the hit rate is far exceeded expectation. Um, but like, for the most part, my lifestyle before COVID uh, looks a lot like my lifestyle after or during COVID, where I stay at home, I play my video games, I talk to this sort of same network of friends that were already living elsewhere, so it's not like we were seeing each other regularly anyways. The video games are the sort of conduit that allow us to just hang out. um,
Mm.
cannot cannot understate how much I I appreciate video games for being that sort of facilitator. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
cool.
there was a solid few months before COVID where I was going to the gym, and then obviously things became restrictive and I couldn't do that
Yeah.
anymore. Um, and like my housemates actually bought gym equipment and it's sitting in the basement, and I have access to it, but I think being able to sort of still be at home means that I'm more easily distracted and like less willing to just kind of go down there and do it. Whereas opposed to, before I'd have to go to a facility and there was like nothing really much else to distract me. So it's like,
Mhm.
I'm here, guess I'll do it. Um, so yeah, hopefully after the move, I can refocus my brain and getting back into that. Cause like I said, it's been a hefty year of food consumption.
You look great. I think you look
Thank you.
great. And do you think after COVID you're gonna, if it ever ends at this rate, um, want to go out or want to meet up more? Or do you think like for you this forum of like meeting people with your podcast and with video games is really where you like feel at home or feel really great?
So if I like get invited elsewhere, I'm absolutely taking that opportunity because being in the same physical space as people and having these sort of conversations is it hits differently from just doing it over the internet. But
Mhm.
definitely gonna keep doing this show as a
Yay.
baseline because it's been really cool to just catch up with people.
Yeah. Do you have any other or like people that you haven't reached out to yet that you're super excited to
Oh yeah,
or like they want to?
I have a full document with some names that are bolded.
Oh, cool.
And then I've sent out a bunch of sort of feeler messages to people. Some of them have responded saying, yes, but not right now. I'll get you out some other time. It's just like, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Um, and then like three no's, which hurt at the time, but I think I'm starting to get over.
I would I don't
But
handle rejection well.
yeah, rejection is not something I've ever been comfortable with. Like rejection
Yeah.
and failure are my two like biggest sort of like social mental triggers.
They're terrible. It's terrible. I'm never gonna be okay with
Yeah,
it.
it's the worst mentality to have because it's just like that's life, but also man,
Yeah.
I think it's just like not being used to it, kind of. That's not a flex. I just don't do many things.
Yeah. I don't like rejection either.
Yeah.
Well, if I can recommend anyone, I mean, off the top of my head, have you met with Julia Spiegel?
I had contacted her in September. I've actually like just had random DMs on and off, like once every 3 years since high school,
Okay.
because of things that I saw. But she had to reschedule, and then we never ended up rescheduling. I should probably follow up on that now that I think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't talked to her super long, but I see she's doing art now and it seems
Mm.
super cool. So like I actually don't know what she's up to, but I was like, wow, that would be a really cool one. Because I just remember meeting with her in London and she was so, I don't know, she seemed so different or not necessarily that different, but she just had like such a appreciation for life and she had discovered so many new things. It was really cool to talk to her. And now all this artsy fartsy stuff looks really cool. Yeah.
I had spoken. You brought up Andrew Martin earlier. I had spoken to John in like I think either July or August, and then mentally, I should be thinking, okay, a natural guess order would be to contact Andrew immediately. And then I didn't do that until like February. So just like, oh,
You
right.
must have been pretty hurt by that.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't get called out on that.
Yeah, you
I,
probably
I,
will.
I'm trying to get ahead of it now so that it could all be in the past by the time that happens.
Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah.
No, I loved watching all of these. Get to see what people are up to.
So you mentioned, bumping into Julia just kind of out in the wild, that, you notice a sort of different or like air about her. What would you say in yourself has been like the sort of biggest change since, uh, let's say high school, when a bulk of the people watching this particular program would have last seen you?
Uh, it's so hard to say. Um, I mean, I think I gained more confidence in because I always was a bit insecure in high school about the fact that I was like an immigrant. I mean, I don't know if I didn't like wear it or like talk about it ever, but I did feel in high school like I wouldn't want to like I felt a bit awkward eating my food because my mom would send me like this weird ass like Venezuelan dish, and like even my name is not like your classic, I don't know, Canadian name.
Right.
So I always felt a bit weird about that. And I didn't really realize it. And also like the fact that I couldn't see my grandparents on the weekend because they live thousands and thousands of kilometers away, and that everybody was quite far away. I felt a bit weird in high school, and I tried to downplay it quite a bit. And then in university, all my the friends that I made all came from immigrant families as well. And that's when I kind of realized like, what? I feel so at home. I feel so identified with like my hair is like blow dried now, but normally it's like this huge frizzy Venezuelan curly mess of a thing. And all I wanted was to have like perfectly straight hair like Tara. I was like, oh my God, it must be so easy. Or like, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't realize I couldn't relate to my friends as much, or I just felt awkward that my parents thought differently or had different expectations for me. Like they wanted me to live at home during university, whereas all my friends were like, no, you have to go live on your own, go live in like residence, not from a bad place from either side, but it's just like there was a cultural disconnect. And then through university and now living in Europe, where I've met people from so many different cultural backgrounds, I've definitely embraced that side of me more. I just feel more secure, or like more confident about myself. So that was like a big change. Um, that I mean, a good positive change. I've become douchier now that I'm in Europe. All my stories start with this one time in Barcelona. Oh no, that was in Prague. Like, so I'm pretty unbearable when it comes to storytelling.
But at least you didn't
Um,
get wrapped up in the techno world.
no. I'm no fun at a techno party. I always fall asleep. Yeah, I guess those are like the biggest changes from my perspective.
Well, good on you.
Oh, and also the fact that I used to be very like career driven. Like all my goals when I was like younger, or when I was like in high school, and even university, was like, okay, I want to get a really good job so I can get a really good car, so I can get a really like all these things. And by meeting all these like really different people here in Europe that do whatever they want, like I had a friend who is doing her master's in engineering, and then she quit for a year to become a yoga instructor, like teach herself yoga and become a yoga instructor at a surf hostel. And I was like, what? Like you're in your like late, like you're almost 30 and you're doing this? Like, yeah, why not? And I was like, well, I guess like, okay. And when I quit my job to learn German, I was getting like high fives before even people knew my plan. They're like, oh, you're not working, dope. Like everybody was celebrating. And I was like, oh, cool. Like this is awesome. And the fact that I, also like want to live with roommates. And I just find that my plans or my idea of success changed so much since coming here. And like I really celebrate people having different paths or different ambitions, or no ambitions at all, just like enjoying their life or making the most of it, or
Just an
just
appreciation
figuring it
for
out.
the experiences rather than anything sort of more material.
Yeah, exactly. And just also not holding yourself up to anybody else's standard, like whatever, like you can do whatever you want. You don't need to prove it to anyone. And that's, again, it's not to put anyone to blame. It's just my own mindset. I was just like, this is what I need to do. This is my idea of like, if I, yeah, I don't know. I just tied myself so much to that during high school. And that's why I like would try to get the best grades I could in all
Mhm.
these classes instead of just like stopping and thinking, do I even like this? Like, am I like, is this what I want? So yeah, that has changed a lot. So I don't really have a plan. I have zero plan. Like no plan. My plan was to get a dog and I got that. And so now I'm like,
You're, the list
I'm
is
good.
checked off.
Yeah,
You're
that was
good.
the list. That was the list. So I'm very happy not really having any kind of like next thing that I really want to achieve. And
It
that's
allows you
something
to
to
be
change.
sort of more present. You don't have this sort of um, uh, like goal setting is great, uh, but what am I trying to say here?
I think it can be also overrated. I think
Yes.
cool to have goals, but it can also be a bit overrated and you can just like think, what do I want to do? So it's like, oh, I would like to do this, or I'm interested in trying this, and that's enough. Like I don't need to be like, I don't know, have something that if I don't get to that point, I consider myself a failure. Like for me,
Mhm.
being able to drink green tea in the morning, like that's for me success. That's dope. I can like, I know I don't work on Saturdays. That's awesome. I get to have my green tea every Saturday morning. Check me out. Like I'm on top of the world. Um, yeah, that's why I think like sometimes it's okay to have periods of your life where you don't have goals and you just appreciate,
The present.
yeah, appreciate the present and think, yo, like this is the top. Like this is so cool. Like, man, like for you, you're about to move to like this cool apartment. You're living with friends. Like I don't know, somehow I think I'm a cooler person than I ever could have imagined at, well, how old am I? 29? Like I think that's awesome that I can drink green tea and I'm don't know what I'm
You're
gonna be doing
doing
in a few
it.
months. Yeah, I'm just doing whatever. And I just I like to let myself think that that's success, is that I can have a free Saturday morning to drink green tea.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I have one last question to ask you, as you may or may not know from listening to the show. You've mentioned a couple of names that you've suggested to me to have on. But for you, if you were to host your own version of the show where you had on someone you haven't talked to in a while to reconnect, who would you like to talk to?
Uh I'm trying to think because I have messaged some people or I have chatted with some people a little bit. So I won't say them. I mean,
I mean,
huh?
you could also just say like the sort of first person that you reached out to do that, because like I don't know if that's something that you sort of consistently did or if that's like something of a more recent thing.
Well, I would love to see Brandon Ho. Like like I've mentioned him a bit, and I was gonna try and see him, but it didn't work out. So I would love to see Brandon Ho. I would love to see Amber. I would love to see Najim, Mark Beckett. Like, yeah, those are like the first ones that kind of come to mind. These are all like people that for some reason really stuck out. Like as we were like about to leave Cameron, like I got to know him a bit, but like not even that well, but like somehow like I just became super conscious, like man, like all these people are so cool, and I didn't get to know them well enough during high school, and I would love to see them again because they're just, yeah, I just remember laughing so much or like wanting to
They're
be like, oh, I want to get to know you guys better. Like
great
you guys
bunch
are
of guys.
awesome. Yeah, they really
Absolute
are.
blast.
And they just bring so much joy. And I'm like, dang, I would love to like reconnect somehow. But really, everybody that we went to high school with was so awesome. And I don't think I realized that till like you start trying to meet more people, like you too, also, like, you know, in university or afterwards, trying to make friends. You're like,
How does this work?
what do I do? Like, do we like set a time to meet up or like, how does this work? And I don't know. I just think we had a really great group of people that have gone on to do really amazing things. And yes, I would. Oh, zoo hair. Of course I want to see zoo hair. I also like, what the heck? Yeah, I think.
Zuhair's like deleting the message that he was in the middle of typing out while you're mentioning these other people. Just like
Oh my God.
feeling slighted. It was like, okay,
No, of course.
I could
I mean,
cool
like
it.
everyone. Like I'd have to whip out my what's it called, yearbook to see them all again. But of course, zoo hair too. Like, man, these are all like such
Blast from the past.
yeah, positive and great people that I'd love to see everybody.
Well, speaking of positive and great people, huge thank you so much for coming on this show.
Oh my God, I survived. I didn't have a panic attack.
Did you have any questions left for me or anything that you wanted to get out there?
Lots of questions. I don't know. I think I've asked like the biggest ones that I wanted to ask. When are you coming to Berlin?
As soon as possible.
Cool. I would be very happy to host you. No, I don't have anything else to promo. People can reach out to me, always happy to say hi to people. I only have Facebook or email. So hit me up on either. Yeah, but I'm just super happy to connect again.
You heard it here, everyone. Euge's DMs are wide open.
Yeah.
Get up in there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always happy to talk to people. I don't do anything with my time lately. I'm on super lockdown, so I'm so free. Yeah, but thanks so much for all of this. Like I said, I love following your podcast. I love all the guests that have come on. I'm just like replaying them all in my head now. But please keep doing it because it means a lot, especially now. It's super cool. It's really freaking cool that you're doing this.
That certainly will help to keep me going. Once again, Euge, thank you so much for sharing your evening with me. It's getting to like 8:30 where you are or something like that.
8:29.
Hell yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for us here at the show. So listener, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, thank you so much for listening. And I will catch you next time.